are you guys committed to not having sex before marriage? Raise your hands if you're committed to that.
I mean,
This is this is where I'm going with it. I mean, because you guys, your priority to be married is on the very bottom. None of you guys are taking birth control.
When it comes to casual sex, the person who gets the short end of the stick is the girl. Because if a guy gets you pregnant and he doesn't want to commit to you, you are stuck with that baby. You have to raise that baby, you know?
You guys said nobody's on birth control. I was like, wow, I mean, that's good, because I don't think women should be on birth control. I think it has a lot of damaging factors there. But then I'm also hoping that you're not actively in relationships with guys who you have no desire to commit to, because this is what derails your entire future.
It's your boy Simba Savi. Welcome. Please, if you're not following the channel, follow the channel, leave a like and comment. Let's not waste time. Let's get into our video for today.
How do you feel about new age women? I've been out of the dating game for a while now, so I don't really know how new age women, but I talk to guys about it, and it's kind of sad, because I think feminism has ruined women's lives in a large way. Not ruin their lives, but ruin their dating lives. And so, but I don't know. You guys are new age women. Some of you young women are new age women. You could probably speak to it better, but it just seems like women are missing men like this. Like, we are missing each other. Women think that men should be this way. Men think that women should be this way. And nobody's willing to take real responsibility for saying, okay, how can I change what I'm doing, or what am I doing wrong to be a better woman?
I got a good question for the ladies on this. Ladies, I'm going to give you 5 things on your list.
That's true, man. Feminism is lied to women. And when you criticize that movement, it's as if you hate women or you don't want them to be empowered. But I think we live in a free market economy where people are free to do what they want, you know? You're free to be as promiscuous as you want to be, which is one of the things that feminism has always advocated for, that women should be sexually liberated. You are free to prioritize a career and not a family. You are free to have an abortion in most countries. You are free to do a lot of things that women do. But at the end of the day, when us as men really analyze what's going on in the dating market, you tend to see that as the women grow older, they tend to be depressed, because no one wants to commit to them after they follow the feminist route. So let's continue.
Career, husband, children, travel, or personal endeavors, right?
right
So-
now or general?
Yeah, yeah, it could be in general. But basically, in your priority list of what you need to get accomplished in your life right now, what are the top things? So again, we'll go career, husband, family, maybe hobbies, travel, whatever it is. But I just want to know your priorities, your top 3 to 5 priorities in your life right now at this moment. What about you?
My daughter, my
got a
stability
kid?
in life.
Huh?
Yes.
But anyway, for the sake of time, most of the girls, it's always career, travel. I want to focus on having fun. And then, starting a family is always at the back end. When I'm older and I'm 35, that's when I want to settle down. And they kind of moving like a man, because what we know is, as men, we struggle with dating when we're young, because when it comes to the things that women are looking for in men, you don't have those things when you're young as a man. Unless God gifted you with good genetics, you can still date and have your fair share of girls. But if for most men, they really need to work on themselves. They really need to get to the gym. They really need to start building a network. They need to get a good job or start a business, start making some money to be able to take a girl on a date, to be able to provide for a girl, to be able to show her that, you have some ambition, to be able to start actually be chosen by girls. And men literally has to work. And the things that make a man attractive take time. This is why men can settle down in their 30, when they're 35, when they're 40, because now they have those things. They have the confidence. They have the experience. They know how not to be awkward around women. They have a network now. Their business is starting to, show. They have a good job. They've been promoted a few times. But then for a woman, it's different, because men are not really looking at a woman from a point of what's your career like and how much money do you make. For men, it tends to be more, can you give me children? Which a woman is most fertile when she's younger. Are you beautiful? A woman is most beautiful when she's younger. Chastity, men care about women's body count as much as, feminists make noise and say, oh, why are you saying that? It is the truth. So, let's get into what Officer Tatum, says, and it's really interesting.
the reason why I asked that question, because the question was about modern women, right? If you want a man, a top tier guy, a guy that's going to treat you well, be attractive, all these other things, you're going to have to make him a priority. But what I've noticed with women is like you guys think it's like a side quest.
And let me add to this. Are you guys committed to not having sex before marriage? Raise your hands if you're committed to that.
I mean,
This is this is where I'm going with it. I mean, because
go ahead, bro.
you guys, your priority to be married is on the very bottom. None of you guys are taking birth control. So I'm not advocating birth control, but you're not taking any measures to prevent yourself from having children. But yet all of you guys are dating and actively involved with men to some degree.
Not all of us.
No, I'm just saying to some degree. Your guy, you would be if you wasn't in jail.
so yeah.
But what I'm saying is that, you know, when you look at it, I'm hoping that you guys aren't actively dating.
Yeah.
Because if you're actively dating, you're putting yourself in a bad situation because it's not even a priority and you're not in a position to protect yourself if you do end up having a child with somebody that you're not even committed to. So I'm hoping that that's the result, because when you
But that's not the result at the end of the day. You see, most women, obviously with the new generation of women, they don't like birth control because obviously birth control is not good and I don't really recommend it to girls. But if you're going to be sexually active, here's the problem. The reason why traditional values wanted girls or encouraged girls to be virgins, to not be sexually, indulging, shamed girls for that is because, number one, when it comes to casual sex, the person who gets the short end of the stick is the girl. Because if a guy gets you pregnant and he doesn't want to commit to you, you are stuck with that baby. You have to raise that baby. And let's talk of now modern inventions like abortions, right? You are ruining your womb. That having an abortion when you're young can affect you trying to have a baby when you're not committed now in a relationship. It can affect a lot of things in the future. You see? So it's not recommended. So at the end of the day, women are dating, playing Russian roulette with their wombs. And this is why we have a pandemic of single mothers, because these single mothers are not going sleep. A lot of them, right? A lot of girls are not going sleeping around with guys that they deem as below me and he worships the ground that I walk on. No, they want bad boys. They want that guy in the hood who's getting all the girls, and she wants to be the one who says, you know what, I got him. And when that guy gets her pregnant, he doesn't want to commit to her. This is why you find that one guy can literally have 5 baby mamas because he's that guy. Then you have other guys who can't get girls, and these are typically the guys that end up being stepfathers. So when what he's saying is true, that you are playing a dangerous game when you are not on birth control and you're having casual sex with, and you're literally saying on a podcast that you don't want to commit right now. So why are you having sex? Okay, you are having sex. Are you taking birth control? No. And once you get pregnant by a guy, dating is going to be harder for you.
you guys said nobody's on birth control, I was like, wow, I mean, that's good, because I don't think women should be on birth control. I think it has a lot of damaging factors there. But then I'm also hoping that you're not actively in relationships with guys who you have no desire to commit to, because this is what derails your entire future. You're having fun, you're traveling, and you get pregnant by somebody. And when does the list change? That's the question. At what point does...
And not only does it derail your own future, but you're literally planting a seed to be very bitter at life and be bitter at men for a very long time, if not the rest of your life. Because if you get pregnant by a man who's not going to support you, or who is incapable of supporting you even if you wanted to, right? Because it takes also money. It's not just presents to raise a baby. You're going to be bitter at that man because you get to see him leave the house if ever he's there. And if he's not there, you get to see him date other girls, enjoy sex with other girls while you are stuck with that baby. Now you can't go on dates because that baby is young. That baby is crying. That baby needs a mother. You see? You end up being bitter. So the best way to protect yourself is not to behave like a man. And the truth of the matter is, if most girls behave themselves, men will get in line, because who are men going to have casual sex with even if they wanted to? If girls sat down and said, you know what, we are keeping ourselves from marriage, who are men going to have casual sex with? Which was exactly the scenario that was there a few decades ago. This is why most men married. Because to gain sexual access, you had to marry. Because most girls were not promiscuous. Most girls didn't just want to sleep with a guy because they understood the repercussions. The women 3 decades ago were taught in a very different way than the woman now who's taught that it's okay to be sexually liberated. You are sexualized, you sexualized on TV, you sexualized in the music, your mind is sexualized, you're programmed by celebrities, the Kim Kardashians of the world. Kim Kardashian can afford to be a single mother because she's worth millions. You see, are most girls worth millions? No. Most women are gonna need a man to provide. Most women don't have good careers. Most women don't have careers that are going to be, have them save money in order to take care of themselves into retirement. So you see where the problem is now.
Does the list change? Because the priorities that you guys are speaking about can go on in perpetuity. Traveling, when does traveling is not enough? You can always travel. There's always places to go and explore. When do you not prioritize your personal health and mental health? That's always going to be something that you can prioritize. So the question is, and I think what Myron was getting at, is that young women or women in general just need to think this through. As you begin to grow older and you begin to have these experiences, when are you going to prioritize or change your priority list? Because you don't want to do it too late in life. And then your pool of men that you want, not men that you can get, because you girls can get a lot of dudes, but the guy that you really want begin to slim longer and longer and longer, that you prioritize or you lack the priority of having a man. And so I just, if I had a daughter, that's what I would tell her. Like, okay, I see what you're saying. It makes sense. That sounds good. You are young, but at some point you got to transition your priorities to begin to focus on that, because ultimately, I think most women want a marriage and a good family. Most women need that. It is not good for a woman to be alone and out here struggling and fending for herself. It's just not. It's better for a woman to have a good man next to her and you guys grow and build together. The same thing is for a man. I would tell a young man.
Think of the time it takes for you to date someone, get to know them, finally get that guy to actually go on one knee. How hard is it to find that guy, first of all? And if you do, how long does it take? And even if you do find the right guy, is he going to go on one knee? Something can happen along the relationship that ends it. But here's the problem now. It puts women in a very desperate position, because you see, the way older women date is that they want to know what it is there and there. And that desperation makes guys run. That desperation makes guys have one night stands with them and bounce, or date them for a couple of months and bounce, because a man doesn't want to be rushed to choose who he wants. But if a woman is taught to prioritize marriage from the time she gets to 18, not just prioritizing marriage with anyone, but prioritizing marriage with a good man, having her father and the male figures be involved in her picking a man, right? From the time she's 18, right? The thing is that she's not in a hurry at that point. But the problem is that we live in a culture where women start dating at 16, but who are they dating? They are dating the bad boys. They are there in parties, different parties, being called to different game nights, having fun on boats with rich guys that will never commit to them. But if you start dating seriously and picking the right men who are ready for marriage at that age, going up, I feel like by the time you're 25, you can actually get a guy to settle down with. But then the problem is that women want to start being serious at 26, 27, 28, which then leads a few of them are lucky. Between 25 to 30, a small percentage of them actually get married. But now the rest of them now, once you get to 30, it's starting to face the war, and it's going to be harder and harder and harder. So, but then when you say these things like, oh no, let women have their fun. No one is saying women shouldn't have their fun. But what I'm saying is there are repercussions when it comes to trying to get a guy of good value, a guy who's worked hard for his life to commit to you when you're older. It's way, way harder. You see? That's just the truth.
What's your priorities? At some point, you got to transition your priorities to having a wife. Because you go on, you could be 40 years old and your body count crazy. And now you're in a situation where you're not going to find a woman that is capable of being with you, because men can go younger, but younger is not normally smarter. Young women don't know what they want in some cases. And a man who has value and who want to grow can't grow with a woman who can't help him grow. And so I would tell both sides, at some point you have to change your priority list, because it's never going to change itself. And then you run into a situation where you meet a random guy and you really don't want to prioritize it. And then you end up getting married and getting divorced. And you don't want that for your life either.
I disagree with him there, because If a guy waits when he has resources, let's say it takes him up to 35 to really be stable enough to settle down, and he wants to settle down with a younger girl, right? The difference is that this guy is very desirable at this point. So he has a bigger portion, because for a man, a woman's income is not a barrier for him to date her, just her beauty and her morals. So he has a bigger pool to choose from. And if a guy knows how to choose, to be honest with you, it's not every young woman that is taught to be promiscuous. You can really get a good young woman who is raised in a household where she was raised to be a wife. She knows how to cook, she knows how to submit to a man, she knows all these things. The problem is when you are older, or with whatever age you are as a man, then you pick a ratchet young girl. That's where the problem lies. But whereas as a woman, as you grow older, your pool diminishes, because now the type of men that you want don't want you, and they are few, because the income bracket alone, the I want a guy who's stable alone, limits the type of guys that you are actually willing to talk to. And those guys have all the options. Would they settle down with you at 30 something? That will be hard. It will be hard. Number one. Number two, young women are misdirected because a lot of kids are coming out of single parent households. There is no direction. The mom had her when she was a teenager as well. She was still a kid. She also wanted to have fun. She had no stability. She also comes from a single mother household. And that kid had to be taught how to be a woman by the streets. That's a lot of young women today. That's a lot of young men today. A lot of people of our generation are misdirected because how many people are coming from two-parent households? No one wants to get married because the whole chess pieces of what it takes for us to get married has been moved apart. Women are taught the wrong things. Men don't want to get married because the laws in themselves will destroy you. If you were to get married, you're literally giving a gun to a woman. She might not shoot you, but there's at least a 50% chance that she will, because 50% of marriages end in divorce. You see? So it's a complex issue, but I feel like nowadays it's all about looking at yourself and trying to, if you're a girl, play the game to your advantage. And I believe that is dating the high value men when you're young, but picking high value men who are ready for marriage and want to marry you, and not falling for this trick of wanting to be for the streets. When you're a guy, I feel like waiting until your finances are in order, until you've grown, read books about leadership, until you've done some self-development as a man in terms of leadership, in terms of your money, in terms of your physique. I think waiting gives you the leverage and gives you a bargaining power in the dating market today.
Let me add this to the dynamic. The young women who are here saying they want to travel and all, it's great to do that. Don't be foolish and jump into a relationship before you have any life experience, before you know what you really want. You may not want to live in Germany the rest of your life. You may not want to. You may want to come live in America. I don't know, but you have to experience some of those things and build skills before you think you're going to be somebody's wife. So don't jump into it. Don't think you're wrong for wanting to explore and travel. Just as long as you're not sleeping around, that's not good for you. But it is invaluable for you to have something to offer a man, because when you're 18, you don't know what's going on. You really can't offer much. And this is just my opinion. The same thing with men.
I disagree with him there. I disagree with him 100%. And this is the problem, that even the men who have the good intentions to teach girls, feminism has crept in so much into the system that even men cannot give women real, pure advice. He's saying you need life experiences and you need to travel and you need to know, and then later on settle down. There's a problem there because women have a finite time to really search for the guy that's going to commit to them, like I explained before. You see, I feel like your parents should prepare you as a woman. This is where being in a two-parent household and having parents that know what it is that's going on, your parents should prepare you. By the time a woman gets to 18, I feel like she should start dating seriously at that point. I'm not saying she should date at 18, but I'm not saying she should marry at 18, but I'm saying she should start looking for a husband seriously, filtering men who want to have fun, filtering out men who just want her for a body, filtering out men who are not ambitious. At 18 years old already, a girl should be taught that. And if she were to be in a household, I feel like the things that a wife should learn, the traditional values of a wife, can be taught from the time a girl is 3 years old. Cooking, cleaning, taking care of kids. And now, once you are married, you can still pursue a career. You can still finish your degree. You can still work. You can still do all these things. You can still travel. But at least the hardest part, you've already ticked it. Whereas a guy cannot do that early. A guy needs to work first because he's the provider. You understand? So I disagree with him there because that's a feminist talking point right there.
I think men should wait until they have something established before they try to marry somebody.
I agree 100%.
You can't, if you can't take care of her, you can't marry her. And some young men feel pressured to say, well, I'm not where I want to be at yet, but I want to go 50-50. In my opinion, you got to get to where you need to be first. Therefore, you actually have something to offer that woman.
No, I tell them that.
I agree with him there. But if you listen to what advice is giving to the women, it's the same advice. He's saying as a woman, wait. And he's saying as a young man, wait. But as a young man, when you wait, you actually have something to offer the woman, which is being able to gain leadership skills, maturing as a man because you're the leader of the household, providing. You actually get to save money, build a house, do all these things, and then bring a woman when you're at least stable. It doesn't mean you have to bring a woman when you're now a millionaire, but you're at least stable to take care of a family. So a man has to wait. But what does a woman have to wait for? Is she bringing money to the table? Is that really important for her to bring to the table? Now, for the guys who value that, maybe she should wait. But the guys who value that gonna marry her. Because a lot of women have waited to finish their careers. They have waited to make that money and they're still miserable because no guy wants to commit to them. But things that a woman needs, most of them are instinctual, but some of them can be learned from the time a girl is young. And even if you didn't learn how to cook, you can go on YouTube to learn how to cook. In a year, you can learn how to cook. You'll be so good. Right? Being loving, the feminine traits. So it's different. A woman doesn't have to wait, to be honest. She should start dating seriously from the get-go. From the get-go, date the older guys who are ready for marriage. Have your father, have your brothers filter that man. So this is a problem with some of this advice on the internet, that it still falls, it still has sprinkles of feminism on it. And I'll be honest with you, when it comes to dating, when it comes to getting a marriage, feminism is failing a lot of women. And the problem is that women will always give examples of the exceptions. Oh, but Beyonce got married. But at what age did Beyonce get married? She was young. Oh, but this girl got married was a celebrity. But if you look at the data, are most women getting married? Marriage rates are going down. If you look at the data, are 30 plus women getting married at a high rate? No. So anyway, it's up to you at the end of the day. Like I said, it's a free market. For all you guys who believe in 50-50, the women are there, marry them and do 50-50. Let's see how it goes. For the women who believe that they can get an exceptional guy in their 30s, no one is forcing you to be a traditional wife. No one is forcing you to marry young. This is just me giving my perspective. And then for the men that want a traditional wife, you know exactly what to do. For the women that want a traditional man, you know exactly what to do. It's a free market at the end of the day. So in today's society, bro, you can't fall for these movements. You really have to look at what's going on in the real world. Stop listening to what people say. Look at what's going on the large scale. When women are saying they don't want broke men, women are not giving chances to broke men nowadays. So as a man, to have leverage, you need to make that paper, bro. So you need to wait. The economy is harder and harder. It's getting harder and harder, bro, to be stable as a man. So anyway, I hope you learned something. Till my next video, I'm out.